Righty. So, next game. I didn't realise I had my mic muted, but fantastic. So, we got Blue, we got Nick, and Metapod against Gunmetal Grey, Corgi, and Neon. Both teams pretty strong, undeniably so. Metal counts to 79 on Krevage, which is this system. What do we got? We got bots opening for the Gunmetal Grey here, followed up by a double air with this commander. Meanwhile, on the reverse, we've got the blue team, Nick and Metapod, going for bots and air. So instead of double bots, they've gone for bots and air simultaneously, which is perhaps going to give them that early mobility advantage, which they could well need. Going for a couple of extra air factories, totaling 3 with bots, and then a transition into vehicles thereafter. So we're going to see some good docks running around, possibly some sparks. We've got the air fabbers running off already. We can see the queues beginning. Going to have a total of 3 air factories from the grey team here, possibly even some idle comms shortly-ish. Notice how again we've got these fabs going around in little parties to build things nice and quickly. Blue pinging, saying there's a docks on his way, watch out for him. Firefly running over, seeing the early builds, seeing a couple of docks, seeing a couple of air pings from Blue saying, "Oi, watch out." That air fab having to run away before the mechs is finished. Of course, air fabs take up a little bit of extra power per metal, a little less efficient. Another dock's coming in here though. Could take out the air fab, but instead the hummingbird steals the kill. Coming off from Blue, we got a bumblebee coming out. It's nice to see that they're trying to expand to both north and south at the same time. Grey, meanwhile, expanding slowly and steadily along the floor. Got to lost all their air fabs, and fortunately, before the turret was finished, which is rather important, considering that it prevents that area from being locked down. We got the Dance of the Docks there, and the Gunmetal Grey one wins. Wasn't really expecting that, but we do have a couple more following up thereafter. Got some boombots on the south as well, looking for their nasty little fabber picks. Watch this. With a little bit of lag there, but still. Nasty fabber pick. Look at this emplacement. And they will get that successfully. Excuse me. No early T2s anymore. It's the sort of thing you would have seen by now with Commander Reclaim. And we've got our vehicles beginning for the blue team. And even a lob as well. Not something I expected. Particularly as you can see, with just a single fab, that's taking a significant amount of time. You'd half expect a commander to go over and assist with that one. T2 bots coming up from Grey. Wonderful. I'm suspecting slammers and possibly a few locusts. Just possibly. And lots of air. Ah, we've got lobs from each team. What's going on here? And we've got Icarus. A rather curious decision. Grey coming in with pings. Getting a nice little raid off from Blue. We'll take down that mechs, fortunately. So we're going to have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 air against 4 as per current build. Moving to vehicles there with Blue, still deciding to go for T2 bots over vehicles. And they will be behind in air going forward. In terms of air production, look at this. This is nice as well. Putting docks on the metal spots themselves, of course. defense is a thing. Got a bit of scouting there. Sees the T2 bot factory complete. Pings it off. Tells his teammate. As you'd expect in any coordinated PA game. Few docks sitting sentry and waiting. More air fabs doing some more expanding. Eco for blue team running away. So even though it looks as though Gunmetal Grey have got to the T2 first, they don't actually have as great a map presence nor control. They've been very, very defensive and conservative so far. You can tell that not only in the Eco tab, but also in the Army tab. There are only 7 fabs and 9 factories, and 30 fewer units. Pings from Grey. Yeah, we need to go and deal with that, he says. But of course you do. Airfab's gone down. Wonderful. Fabs, unfortunately for Grey, will be picked off here, or not. Wow, comes in the nick of time with the air, gets that metal extractor up, and the queue is continued. Changes it round. In fact, I think the air game there was a really poor trade for Grey. I feel as though Grey just lost out big time on their air. Inferno's coming in on the north. We've got some scouts on either side. We've got some Icarus just waiting for the expanding fabbers. We've got some slammers moving around the place. But overall, Blue certainly has the better footing going into the next part of this game. Yes, they didn't get to T2 first, but at the same time, Grey have not really used their T2 to great effect. They're only just starting to establish their T2 economy. Meanwhile, Blue have already hot on the tails with that one. And they've got just as many T2 units as Grey. So that gap is no longer a valid point of comparison. And the Eco still has the disparity. More units continue to pressure from the North Pole there from Blue. Only small forces, but bear in mind there's not a significant amount of defence, and these small tank forces pack a greater punch than it might appear based on their numbers. Look at these docks here. Haven't even scratched the surface with those tanks, and those tanks are just going to raid those metal points very, very rapidly indeed. And Grey is only finally starting to get their raiding hat on. Just as this massive blob of docks is about to push in, we've got a T2 air factory going up from Grey when they can't really afford the metal. What's going on here? I almost have a feeling a commander should be assisting the T2 mechs going up, because there is a significant shortfall in the eco of the Grey team there, but even more significant now for the Blue. We've got some Locusts coming around though, so fortunately for the Blue team, their eco is about to be relieved as these Locusts run in, and this will probably be the GG here, as there's nothing really to defend against this. There are a couple of slammers, but they saw them. They pinged the Locusts. They were seen. Oh, Grey slammers got in. Nice and close. And in come the Locusts there. Ooh. Well, they killed off the T2 air factory, leaving the commander stuck against these slammers here. He just needs a well-timed Uber cannon. Or not anymore. Slammers are traded. Jobs are good. And Grey still has their raiding force. And they are still raiding. Fortunately for Blue, all their eco now is around the base. And so Grey won't actually be able to damage that lead, so to speak. But they could narrow it somewhat. We're getting the T2 vehicles up top, and that will be a significant step up when that completes. Do Grey know about it? They do not. That is bad news. They need to know about that vehicle factory in order to be able to prepare for it. Trying desperately to get their air advantage, but Blue is catching up on that front too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 air factories there, and almost, well, yeah, almost 3 T2 factories. What do we got in air for Grey? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only just 6. Ah! So the air is still very much comparable. We've got Locusts continuing to come in. What do we got there? 25 against 12. Grey could intervene here. But the problem is not going to be the air going forward. The problem is going to be this vehicle factory. If Grey have a good bit of scouting here, they could see a vulnerable commander that they could, if they so desired, possibly kill off right now. Back comes the air for that horrible trade from blue. Grey have the skies. And the slammers are starting forest fires. The commander has time to retreat. Good news for blue. And this force on the South Pole is significant. How many is that there? Total 74. And looking in the army tab there, we've only got 120 overall. So that is more than half of Grey's units all clumped in one position. If they push in now, there's a nice easy base kill waiting for them. They've finally seen the T2 vehicles, but with interceptors there's not a lot they can do about it. They need to worry about those levelers coming out. The longer they leave that vehicle factory standing, the more damage it's going to do. I like this, not moving around the factory yet before they've killed it, and then rush off in the exact opposite direction, which is exactly what they want to do. Leaving one alive. He can continue to raid. There's a couple of fabbers down here that he can do so. But here we come. This assault here is the danger mouse, so to speak. This is not good. There we go. Ping's coming off from someone somewhere. That's not of huge importance here as, well, this force is ready and waiting. The air exists, the Grey can scout it, but there's not a lot they can do about it. They don't have any ground. They only have a couple of bombers to defend. And a commander. Beautiful Uber cannon placement. Got to be sitting there. And more bumblebees to finish off that slammer, but commander took a little bit of damage there, down to 64%. Out we come again. We got some nice mines coming up from blue. Onto the North Pole now. We have the effect of levelers pushing in. And a teleport strat too. Probably have the teleport constructed down here by these combat fabs. Indeed we already do. Should have seen that before. So these vehicles are going to bolster the bots push from the south, while giving the illusion of being a northern presence. That's great! And Grey have no idea that this is a thing. They have no idea about this teleporter. And their bombers are working overtime just to keep their economy afloat, as they're now 200 metal behind. Let's have a look at what's going on in the blue. T2 air, now a thing. While Grey do have the sky control, it's got to be said that those Phoenix will start to pay the dividends. But that number of bombers, though, is looking increasingly perilous. 25 bombers with no air support. That's a multipass on a commander. And I'm looking at this commander over here, and there's not a huge amount of air support for him. Look at that. That's going to whop up that army. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. We've got some slammers pushing in here. That will be nicely defended. Overcome the bombers. They don't want to be lost to the air. Hummingbirds need to turn around. More slammers getting picked off. And the defense occurs. Grey here with a very, very strong defense. They know that they're not really going to be very strong in offense because they don't really have the huge amount of scouting. But still, They are holding on. Closing the eco gap as well now. Fabbers and mobile units still kind of have a disparity. Factory count, definitely. And the vehicles. Going for a storm in there. It's curious. Oh, please. That's a beautifully placed minefield. I hope we don't lose these slammers to that minefield. In comes the air now with 38, 9, 40 plus units in there. Plus Kestrels. And I don't think Grey can hold off against that number of air. Indeed, I don't think they can. Losing a slammer to mines on the north isn't great either. About to lose units to mines on the south too. And if nobody's watching, they will all go down. Oh no. Oh dear. Wonderful mines. And Grey is going to regret that. Ping's coming off from blue saying, wait, there's an assault over here. Come deal. Fortunately, the Kestrels are the ideal way of dealing with that storm, as they stay out of range. Equally, blue have learnt the lesson. Have got a storm of their own in there. And this force will do the damage. That'll probably hint at the GG. As blue finally hammers home their lead here. Some lovely levelers. They didn't even need the teleporter after all that either. And Grey again falling behind in the eco. Not a huge amount to be done. Deciding not to push in and lose this force. But unfortunately, if we just look around, blue just had the map control for the majority of this game. Grey never really got out of their base, did they? That is the issue that they face. Unfortunate for them. But hey ho. Still waiting for the actual final push from blue though. The air is significant. There's a flak over there that they don't really want to have to go over. Ah well, slammers can deal with that. Rather nicely. Or not. Come on, blue. Make a big old push of it. You've got enough units. More than enough. We've even got pelters to defend up here, and lots of bot factories coming out with boom bots to help with the defense against the leveler defense. Defense against the defense. That's not particularly proper. Oh, the mines. They can see them at least because they have got a combat fab there, but now into range of the pelters, having to fall back. There's not a lot to be done. With an eco disparity of 500 metal, I mean, come on. That is some serious... What? Combat fabs. Keeping this spinner alive. Wow. Aha. Now we got the teleporter play. And for some reason my internet is playing up. Might need to close a few programs. Perhaps it's Twitch chat. Perhaps not. All the same, this is the end. We've got the force coming in from the top as well. And from the south. We're about to lose a comm at top. And that'll be a pop. And the Southern Commander has run off all the way to the east. One pop there. Oh! There goes all of those units. There we go. That's that. Well played to Nick and Metapod. Valiant defence from Neon and Corgi. Unfortunately, though, it just didn't last. Alas! Great games. GG's from all sides. It just seemed as though Grey just couldn't get out of their base and expand well enough. Blue just got there so early and fast. And that's all there was to it.